All right, I'd like to go ahead and call the Tuesday, November 17, 2015 Warrenton Board of Aldermen meeting to in session, and start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. You would all rise. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda would be the consent agenda.
First item we have is the regular meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2015. Letter B is executive session meeting minutes from November 3rd, 2015. C, work session minutes from November 3rd, 2015. We have the monthly grounds and maintenance report, the monthly building and code enforcement report, the monthly police report, monthly public works report, the monthly admin report, and approval to purchase 2 folding tables from Lifetime in the amount of $599.98, low bid, 98 cents in the low bid, and approval to purchase a steel carport shelter from Sheds for Less in the amount of $1,749.95, the low bid. Total amount spent for range improvements projects is $3,080.93, which includes $731 previously approved for concrete, and the total budgeted amount for range improvements is $3,300.
Before I entertain a motion, is there anyone who has any questions or issues with that? All right, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Holly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer. If I get a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Frederick is absent. Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with 1 absent. Next item on the agenda would be hearing from the public. We do ask if you come forward to the podium that you announce who you are. We keep it to a 5-minute minimum or maximum. So feel free to come on up. All right, not seeing anyone, we'll move on to the next item. Next item on the agenda would be hearing from the Board of Aldermen. If anyone has any comments. None? All right, not hearing any, we'll move on. Next item on the agenda would be hearing from the mayor, mayor's comments. The ones that I have on the bottom are for appointments, or something I'd like to just take the time to say. Sometimes these are very hard to fill, and I appreciate everybody who's voluntarily offered to be on those boards. I think everybody here on the board has experienced that it's very hard to fill some of these sometimes and give up your time voluntarily, but it's much appreciated, much needed for our community. So with that, I'd like to get approval for appointment of Anna Taylor to the Park Board for a 3-year term, and Tanya Mirth and Nancy Shaw-Harvey to the Park Board for a 2-year term. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Cashley and seconded by Alderperson Hawley to approve the appointment of Anna Taylor to the Park Board for 3-year term, and to Tanya Mirth and Nancy Shaw-Harvey to Park Board for 2-year term. Roll call vote, please.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with 1 absent. All right, next item on the agenda would be items removed from the consent agenda.
Skip it. We're done.
We're done? Okay. Next item would be presentation of audit results for Alan Schulte.
Good evening. Thanks for having me here tonight. My name is Alan Schulte. I'm with Bot Steel & Company, and I was the manager on the audit this year. I just want to say you guys have a really great staff here. They have all the records in great shape, and it's probably one of my better audits. I always look forward to coming out here.
Would you repeat that, please?
I always enjoy coming out here. We issued an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. So that means that they're fairly stated in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. During field work, we identified a couple small journal entries that were proposed to Gabrielle. She made them. They were immaterial. You wouldn't have needed to make them, but they felt like that would be better to make them. The financial statements, the governmental financial statements are kind of consist of two financial statements. You have government-wide financial statements, which is a citywide presentation, and the fund financial statements, which are the separate funds that you guys are kind of used to seeing on a monthly basis. If you look at page 7, that's your management discussion and analysis, and that gives you a little comparison between last year and this year. It's very summarized. There's not a lot of detail there. Just a couple things that I was going to point out. Citywide sales tax increased $128,000, which was 5.1%. In the general fund, sales tax was up $110,000, which was also 5.1%. Property tax decreased $13,000 or 2.6%. It's pretty much flat there. Utility taxes were basically flat. Kind of had a new source of revenue this year, the telephone tax that you started collecting. That brought in another $105,000 during 2015, the fiscal year 2015. Police expenses increased this year, mostly due to you guys being fully staffed for the first time in a while in that department. Streets also had an increase because there was some repair work that didn't meet the capitalization policy, so it runs through as an expense. So, some of that street repair stuff can kind of fluctuate from year to year based on, what kind of projects you have going. And in the general government, you also paid down about $300,000 in outstanding debt. So you guys are making a pretty good dent there. Any questions about any of that?
What is the capitalization policy?
Basically, it's something that has a useful life of more than 1 year. If it's infrastructure nature, I believe it's $25,000 or greater. If it's not, then it's $5,000. But with streets, if it doesn't really improve the streets, if it kind of is just to keep it in the same condition at what it's expected to kind of be in, then it is expensed. So if you would widen it or go from asphalt to concrete or something like that, then that's something that would be capitalized. Okay? On page 8 is a water and sewer comparison. There was about a 7% increase in water and sewer revenue, which about 5% was from increase in fees. The other couple percent was from usage. Expense-wise, there was about a $100,000 increase in repair and maintenance, about a $150,000 increase in interest due to the new bonds you guys issued for water and sewer improvements, and then about another $100,000 for the issuance costs of those bonds. Like I said, you issued about $9.9 million worth of bonds during the year, but you did pay down $585,000 in total debt in that fund as well. There's a cash flow statement on page 22. Probably something that you guys don't see very often, so I usually try to point that out. That top section.
It's on this side of 22.
The top section basically tells you what your day-to-day operations provides cash-wise. So 1.9, almost $2 million over the year. But out of that money, you have to pay principal on the debt, which was $1.3 million. It was a little higher because there was a refinancing too. And then interest of $440,000. So, so even though you're bringing in 1.9 from operations, there's some non-expense type items like, principal and stuff that has to be paid out of that. In the general fund, expenditures exceeded revenue by $360,000. I kind of jumped around on you again. That would be on page 18. And there was kind of a jump in capital outlays in that fund this year compared to last year because of some of those road repairs that you guys did this year. The fund balance of $4.3 million covers about 311 days of expenses. So you have almost a full year in fund balance there. Your capital improvements fund has a little over $1 million in it. And then there's a column called other non-major funds. And that's kind of the smaller funds that are, and if you want to see the detail, that's in the back on page 43 and 44. It's basically parks and tourism, cemetery, and IDA. And so since they're so small, they kind of get relegated to the back. Kind of a thing that's coming in the future for you guys. You guys joined loggers in August to provide pension benefits. So they actually implemented a new accounting standard for June 15 year ends relating to pensions. So what that means is that on that government-wide statement now, there'll be either a liability or an asset for the difference between what your expected pension liability is and your assets that you've paid in to provide those benefits. So since you guys are kind of starting at the ground floor here, I don't expect that to have too big of a impact on your net position. And again, that's not fund statements, that's government-wide. We've seen a few cities take, big $3-4 million hits to their net position because they're underfunded, even though they're in that 90 to 80% funded range that they expect to be in. But I don't think it'll be that way for you guys since you guys are just starting out with the pension.
So how does this show on the balance sheet?
Yeah, so
It shows as a debit for the investment into the fund, and then a liability for an actuary calculation as to what's owed.
well, it's going to show net. So it'll compare the assets you have set aside
Okay.
to the projected liability, and the net difference there will be either an asset or a liability based on which one is higher. Most people are going to have a liability because most funds aren't funded 100%. And then there'll be about 3 pages of footnotes that we get to put in. It doesn't really change how the pensions are handled or anything like that. It's really an accounting thing.
Is there a tax benefit there? I guess it doesn't matter for us.
Doesn't matter for us.
No, I was curious for the rest of us.
Yeah.
No. Any questions about that?
Good, that's a good question.
All right, last but not least, the management report. Basically, all that says is that the statements are management's responsibility. We're just issuing an opinion on the financial statements. The statements do include estimates. There was one uncorrected misstatement. We call it a past journal entry. And basically what that means is that amount was really small, so it wasn't material. It didn't misstate the statement, so we just passed basically on making the adjustment. Had to do with accrued or salaries that year end. It was no big deal. Any questions about the management report?
Overall, it looks like we're doing okay.
You guys are doing a good job. Like I said, the records are in great shape. It's definitely one of the cleanest audits I go on every year.
I'm kind of curious, I did some comparison this morning between what the gross revenue was in the business accounts versus what the increase, or most people think profit is as a percentage. Is there a standard that you see among cities that if we generate X number of dollars worth of water and sewer bills, we would expect to have a profit margin you want to use business terms.
Oh.
Some of a certain percentage. Do you see a standard anywhere among the cities, or is it just
There really
yours?
isn't. Probably the one thing that's most important for you is that debt coverage ratio.
Right.
And I believe your highest one is 120%, and you were at 148 or 49 or something like that. So you're not really, way over on the coverage aspect. And basically all that means is if you guys drop below that 120, then the bondholders can force you to do a rate study to see if you need to increase rates or whatever. So from that perspective, you're probably pretty close to where you need to be. Anything less would put you at risk there. I've seen them as high as 200. It's hard with like I said, some of the non-income statement items like the debt, the principal payments, and then the other thing that some places do, since most governments don't issue debt regularly on the water and sewer, most capital additions are financed through operations in between those big projects. So there too, that's going through depreciation, but the upfront cash is much more significant,
Yeah, because I looked at on the business activity account to figure out what a reserve was. So by taking basically the expenses divided by what was unrestricted in the fund to see where we were at, and we're pretty strong in the water sewer. I had like 139% was in the reserve, which is really strong. So that would indicate that we have that capability of reserve to do some of those short-term things in between bonds.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done.
Any other questions or comments? I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the next item. The Shop Small campaign on Saturday, November 28th. I believe we have a representative from the Chamber of Commerce.
I come from legal aid.
How you doing, Dan?
Good, how are you guys?
Good.
I'm Jan Oliarnik. I'm with the Warrenton Area Chamber of Commerce, and this year we are promoting the Shop Small campaign, which is basically American Express 5 years ago came up with the Small Business Saturday. We understand that everybody likes to do Black Friday and go to the big box stores and do their Christmas shopping, but what we want to kind of promote is that we have some very unique shops and stores in Warren County that we would like people to consider shopping at. It doesn't necessarily have to be the day after Black Friday, but that is the date that they have set. We would like to promote Shop Small the entire months of November and December. I've gone around to the different shops in our area and given them these wonderful little Shop Small canvas bags that they can put the products in for the items that they sell within those 2 months and beyond if they still have some left. I also brought you some pins in case you want to promote it yourselves. Also, we have the Welcome to the Neighborhood welcome mat that goes to the small businesses. I've given those out. And then we have some flag banners that you might see out. I just want you to be aware that that's what this is all about. And then we have the large banner. And I'm not exactly sure where we're going to put that, but it's big enough. Yeah, I need to untie it, basically. There we go. Okay. And, you know, I don't know if you guys want to hang it at your pavilion for gobble giveaway
Oh, yeah,
or
that's cool.
what, but it really shows solidarity for our town to promote our businesses that are so important to making the town unique. And that's what we're here tonight, just to kind of let you know this is what's going on, and offer to you that if you have any questions at all, or if you have any businesses that I haven't touched on yet, please have them contact me, and I'd be happy to bring some of the materials by to them. Any questions
Do you
on
have like a
that?
list of participants for that day? Are you guys like advertising?
We're not advertising at all. The nice part about this is it's not just chamber members. We are taking it to all businesses within our communities. That, I'm just stopping in and giving them the materials. I've had maybe 2 ask for the materials. I'm just kind of popping in and giving them to them.
Okay.
So with this, like I said, if you know of any that haven't gotten any materials, please let me know, and I'll be happy to shoot some by them.
Yep, I think you bring up an interesting point, because I mean, I would be hard pressed to name 60% of the small businesses in town that a person would typically do retail shopping at. Because I live in the city, and due to here at night, and a lot of shops are closed. And we all know the big stores that we go to that are open in Warrenton.
Right.
But how do we market these smaller businesses that really need the exposure, where you would go, oh, I could just as easily go to this store downtown as opposed to doing something else. So I don't know if we can do it from the marketing standpoint of how do we get those business names out there?
Well, that is one of the things that, like we have the flags that say shop small, and that they can put out in front of their businesses, kind of bring a little bit more visibility to themselves. Also, we promote on Facebook quite a bit, and we do have some shops that have some very unique gifts. Do we have a lot? No. But do we want to help promote them? Absolutely. It's always nice to get grandma the same old shawl or sweater or whatever, but to have something that's very unique. Some of our shops here have some pretty amazing gift items. I could name a few if you want, but.
Well, I guess that's my point, because I wouldn't know if, I'd be hard pressed if somebody said, well, there's a neat shop to buy your wife a present for Christmas. I'd go, well, in Warrenton, a small business at Warrenton. I know there's 2 tattoo shops downtown, but she doesn't want a tattoo. 2 gun stores downtown, but she doesn't want a gun.
Yeah. You never know.
Never know. I know.
But I think Gary makes a good point for those of us that commute, and I'm saving you here, go ahead and have that water. It's really hard for us to identify some of these locations, and it would be good ahead of time to go, oh, well, if I can go there Saturday, I can get that Saturday. If there's any way there's.
Well, we don't have a marketing budget for that sort of thing, and they are small shops, and their marketing budget is very limited as well. So this is why we're out here trying to.
I know, I'm just kind of wondering if you can supply that kind of list, if there's something that we can do on our side as well. I mean, we're on Facebook as well, and Tim's sitting in front, he's very philanthropic. Just kidding, Tim. But I mean, if there was something we could do with an extra list of places too, and we got our gobble giveaway thing Saturday. If you had a list of places that could be handed out even.
Absolutely.
That says, Jane's shop has this, that kind of thing. I mean, that doesn't take much from us.
That wouldn't be a problem at all. We could certainly provide that.
Okay. I was just busting.
Any other questions or comments?
I like the idea.
I, for one, if you could leave the sign, we'd love to see it
Okay.
up while we're doing that. We'll try and help you out as much as we can.
That would be great. And I will provide a list of those shops that are in the area that really do have some very unique gifts.
Yeah, that'd be good.
And if I could leave, I have cute little, I know everybody loves to wear these, but they are shop small buttons. And if I could leave them with Melody, and maybe at the gobble giveaway, if some people could be wearing them,
Great.
maybe it could spur some questions as to what are you talking about with the shop small? And
Excellent.
you'd be able to answer that. Okay?
I appreciate it, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And a bag? I'm kidding.
Oh, I'll leave the bag.
No, I'm kidding.
Here, the buttons are in the bag. There you go.
It's a good thing we don't have that sign policy about banners, huh?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I agree with you, though. I miss out on a lot of stuff.
Next item on the agenda would be the request to close Southeast Street between Meyer and Morrissey Avenue. Sorry to put you on the spot, Mike, but did you want to come up and speak on that?
I didn't know when I was supposed to come up. But, yes, on behalf of myself, and I own the property on the east side of Southeast Street, and John Klinger owns the property on the
So you one and
west
he's
side.
two?
What's
Yes,
that?
Look at the map.
that's right.
Is
Would
he
you
one-
like to put it up there?
It's
or-
up.
It's up there right now.
It's up,
Okay,
so
yeah.
you're one and he's two.
Yeah.
I-
Okay.
We would like to initiate the action to close the Southeast Street between between Meyer Street and Morrissey Street. And I don't know, you can see it up there. The reasons, I guess, we're doing it, or requesting it, number one, I've been there since 1984, I guess, or 1987, check. At one point, you know, I had some fencing along the west boundary. The dead trees and everything came down on the fence, and I've taken half the fence out. I've cut up all the dead trees off the city right-of-way, or what city owns. And now I've got the south end of it, and the same thing's happening. I was going to put another fence up, but I'm not going to do it due to the fact that, you know, there's still more dead trees coming down and everything. I would like to be able to go in there and clear it all out, make it, you know, presentable, almost like a park area and everything like that. And on same thing on Mr. Klinger's side, he would like to do the same thing on his side. He'd like to be able to go in there and basically clear it all out. If you look at the property, at the street lines, actually there's a building that was built back in 1958, I think, or 59. There's it's just what do you want to call it? It's not even an enclosed building. It's a carport type thing. Part of that, if you look, is actually on city right-of-way. Same way over on Mr. Klinger's property. If you look at his driveway, if he backs out of his driveway, he's actually backing out onto the street. This all goes back to, and I think his home was built back in about the same time, 59 or something like that. So we want to be able to basically just clean it all up, make it more like just a park area or whatever. And that's why we're requesting it. I know, and I don't expect a decision tonight and everything, but I just want to give you all something to think about. For the street to go through, be it now or down the road, there's a creek that runs through there. And the city would have to build a bridge similar to what they have on Morgan Street, just west of there. They would have to put a bridge in, and that street would only access, I mean, it's not really, it would only access a couple different people there, basically our property. So I don't know that the city will ever want to do the expense of that. The other thing, I know one of the issues that was brought up about, well, if we're not there 20 years from now, what happens if they want to subdivide it? You can go to, I brought a couple other pictures if you want to bring those up. Well, that doesn't show it. If you could have come down to my house today with all the rain we had, they'll never, it's an issue that's property, that whole block, they will probably never be able to subdivide because of water issues. Floodwaters.
What block are you talking about?
There you go. Huh?
What block are you talking about? I mean, I see where you live, I see where John lives.
He's talking.
Just directly north of where John lives.
He's east on the street, I'm west.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm talking about the property that's just north. I mean, because there's one other property owner affected by opening or closing, and that's the property owner.
North,
directly
yeah,
north.
he's already closed Meyer Street through his property. I'm trying to think of his name now. Mr. Finney.
He's closed it?
Yeah, he's
This right here,
Yeah, is that closed?
basically, yeah.
It's-
Basically,
it's
if you
not a
look,
road.
I don't remember that ever being.
okay, if you look at
Look at it as it moves.
Meyer, okay, this is Meyer Street.
Right.
Okay, Meyer Street from here. I gotta look at what we got here.
I mean, to me, he's the only one would be affected by the close. If he were to develop in the future, would he come back to the city and say, well, I can develop on South Market, but I can't develop off of South
He can access
Street?
off Southeast. He doesn't have,
Oh, he's still.
he's got the north, or he's got the south end of Meyer Street to come in on.
He's still here.
Is he aware of what you're proposing, the property owner?
We tried to get hold of him, I haven't been able to get hold of him, so.
Who owns the 1 acre?
Like I
just
say,
north of-
we're just initiating this action right now.
So does Finning own the 1 acre north of Klinger?
I think it's
Yes,
lot, not 1
yes,
acre.
yes. And
Oh.
Lot 1, there's a
and
lot
the
1 and
creek-
there's a lot 7.
Huh?
There's lot 1 and lots, here, take the knife, it's easier for you to
Yeah,
see
and
this. There's lot 1 and there's lot 7 that are impacted if the road closes. Is he the owner of both those?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And you're
No.
saying he's not?
Wait a minute, let me,
So it'd be on the map, Mike, it'd be lot 7
okay,
and
more,
lot
see
1.
here. No, he's got the 1 acre, he's got this 1 acre here, basically. This is 1 acre.
Right.
And 7 isn't affected either way because they've got access still on Southeast Street and
Right,
and
right.
South Market. So Finning's, I don't even.
He's closed Meyer Street, basic. The streets that are closed right around there is Kelling. If you look on the east side, Kelling Street is closed, okay? Then you have the property that is 4 acres there. That's,
When you say they're closed, you mean they're not developed or they're closed? Has the
the
city?
city has abandoned them.
We've never developed them.
The city has abandoned
Well, we wouldn't-
Kelling on north and south, and Meyer Street, east and west, between South Market and Southeast Street. Those streets they've been abandoned.
I don't even
City is
remember seeing a
abandoned.
Meyer.
Well, what does it mean when the city has abandoned them? Does that mean that the city
You
has,
have a- you
typically when you abandon the alley, you give half the property to one property owner, the other half to the other. So has that happened here? Because that's what now what the map reflects.
That's what happens is half and half, and the city still owns easements. You
Okay.
still have water, sewer, electric, whatever goes through there. Those easements are still in place. So,
So Mike, what would happen if we needed to get through from Morrissey to Southeast Street for some easement purpose? If there was an electric need or a water need, or, is there something there currently that we have in place? Is
on
there a-
which now?
Well,
On Southeast.
Yeah, on the southeast. Is there city utilities that run down southeast?
There's water and sewer runs down through Southeast Street.
So if we were to abandon the street, you still couldn't build on it because you'd be building over city
You
easement.
would still have the easement there. Yeah. Basically, what you do is, you can't build anything on it. Basically, what you're doing is just, you're keeping an easement and you're just letting it go to what the property owners would want to do with it.
But
we cannot
why would
build
you,
on it.
but why would you even care about the road being abandoned?
Well, because I want to go in there and, like I say, I would like to go in there and clear it all out, clear it out of the dead trees and everything like that, and get it off the fence, because now I have the north end of it, of the property. I've got dead trees on that fence. I was going to put in a whole new fencing area along that, but I'm not going to do it if I'm still going to have dead trees falling on a new fence.
So if we were to cut the trees, you wouldn't have a problem?
If the city wants to come in and clear it out and make it look nice, it'd be great.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, so if
But
we
there-
keep
but-
that easement, John still can't build any further over, right? So, is your goal to build, I'm asking John in the audience, and he's not up here, but is
John, you want to get up here? This is one of the issues that brought it up here, and I'll let him explain what happened with,
Explain.
Good evening, how are you guys today?
Great.
I propose to add an addition onto my house, which just fills in the corner of the house from my garage to the back side. It doesn't extend it out any farther. Evidently, my garage is grandfathered in to whatever specifications there are. So right now, my building requires okay? So we were looking at some different approaches also. The other thing too is, I have come to the city a couple times and asked them to look at the easement because it's a big erosion problem, a lot of dead trees and stuff. I've tried to remedy that several times because I've only been there 6 or 7 years, and it's impossible to do. So, if the city really needs to take care of it, if it's their easement or whatever. We're just concerned about, we just would like to deal with that area because you can't mow it, you can't do anything, you can't even walk across it to say hi to your neighbor because it's kind of steep and rough and stuff.
But do we typically take care of easements?
It's a right-of-way, but, basically, it's a right-of-way for a platted street that's undeveloped, so typically we would not go in there and take care of it unless it was causing a water or erosion problem that was causing property damage.
Because I know when, behind our house, that whole block was an alley that wasn't open.
Right,
But the
exactly.
city owned it, and all the neighbors took care of their half of
Right.
the alley because they felt, and the city never did anything. And eventually, we asked the city to close the alley, and then we just took property rights on both sides. So
Which would be the same with these ones.
if the city were to close the street and hold the easement,
Well, what we would do, it's the difference between a right-of-way and an easement, is you would give up your whatever 60-foot, Jack, you know what the right-of-way is there?
Probably 50.
50-foot right-of-way, And then you would then do a legal description for an easement for your water and sewer lines. That would be the cleanest way to do it. And then you just deed to them on each side of the property their half of the roadway, their 25 feet of it, subject to the easement and any other restrictions you guys would want to put on it.
Well, let me go ahead and stop you there. You first came up and said you'd like for our consideration. Would you guys be open for us to table this and research this a little more so we can get more information, obtain more information?
Yeah, and that's basically what we're trying to do. The mayor is
Can I ask another question? Yeah,
is
John?
initiate some action to it to see what can be done, and what that's what we'd like to do.
When I talked to you on this, John, before, you were thinking about adding on to your home going east, if I recall right.
Correct.
And one of the things we talked about was a variance, going before the Board of Adjustments and seeing get a variance up to where the easement line is.
Mhm.
And that's almost impossible to do after I sat through these meetings. I think I shared that with you. So then my suggestion was, well, maybe we close the alley. We'll close the road, but if we close the road and the easement's still there, it still prohibits you from building on the easement.
Well, but the easement would be.
So that's the question, is how
The easement
far,
would be smaller than
is it
the,
gonna be smaller than the road?
Well, it depends where the water and sewer lines are.
Okay.
Are they more than one? I don't know how much.
That was the thing we looked at, Gary, is okay, if he wanted to do that, he would not be coming out to 25 feet.
He would be coming out where the current
10
road
feet.
may be proposed,
Well, no,
but not on top of the
No,
easement.
I'm just gonna build out to my garage, which is already there.
But-
It doesn't extend the house any farther.
And gentlemen, let me interrupt real quick and say, there again, this is kind of evolving into more of an expansive thing that maybe we could do a workshop and invite you gentlemen back and we can discuss it in a little more detail as to what it is. Because I do believe we're getting a little more further in depth than what the meeting can hold to. I mean, I don't know if anybody else
I
agrees or
appreciate
the other
that.
aldermen agree to
Well,
take it, but not forget about it.
Yeah, and like I said, we didn't expect a decision tonight, we just wanted to
Start the
initiate.
process.
yeah.
Initiate the
No, but I
process.
appreciate this conversation, so we have a better idea. of
But,
what
but
we're
I mean, I
talking
think we
about.
have to talk till we feel to the point where we're comfortable to know what the next step is, because I think that was the whole point of the consent agenda, to allow us to have greater discussion on issues that are on the agenda. And I mean, at this point in time, I think we can't really go much farther, but we do need to give some marching orders to city employees saying, what is it we're looking for? I mean, I think we're looking for where the easement would be, what's currently in
How
there,
wide the easement is.
how wide it is. I don't know what else.
Well, I think we have
And what
numerous.
sort of cost would we incur in coming up with all these, the legal descriptions?
Yeah. And then, I mean, the other question too is if there's a maintenance issue on this, it may be advantageous for the city to close the street, get the easement, and say, you guys take care of the erosion problem yourself. Well, I mean, you know,
Which is really no problem, that's what we'd like to do.
yeah.
Well, and that plus, like I said, down the road,
Literally.
if they ever want to open the street,
Yeah.
there's going to require a bridge, similar to what you have on Market Street over there. And I don't know that the city would ever want to do that expense for, there's nobody there that it would actually,
But in the future, if we're considering opening, there may be people there. Maybe somebody buys your property and develops
well,
it.
and that's
We
why.
just don't- But I think what we need to do also is get the gentleman who owns the acre or the acreage north of John, find out where he's at in the process.
Oh,
So we have all three parties that border in the conversation.
That's what we want. But
How
again,
to
like
start.
when we brought up, and I had Guy come and visit us, and Guy can give you his thoughts on it and everything like that. But that was one of the things we talked about. I know 20 years down the road, when we're not the owners and everything like that, what's going to happen with it? Will somebody want to come in and, do something different? Well, it might be, but the city's going to have to do one of two things. On my end of it, they're going to have to either, if they're going to open it, street, they're going to have the cost of a bridge, or if they want to subdivide, if somebody wants to come in and subdivide my property, they're going to have to deal with
That.
the floodwater,
I understand.
the groundwater, because that's a big issue.
How many acres do you have?
How
many acres do you have?
3.
You don't know what a developer would do. I understand your point.
But when you look at, if you could have come by you know how much rain we had today?
You
If
can drive
could have
down
come by the
Starhaven
house.
today, you can drive down McKinley today, you can drive down all those streets, we all had rain, big time.
But
Well, let's.
that's what I'm saying. There's got to be something done with one of two things. If the city, regardless of where they go, the groundwater, the runoff water, it's just, I get so much of it.
And it pulls up. I've been down before.
And I feel sorry for you, Mike, but on the
And
other
I'm-
hand, I've got citizens in my ward who've been suffering just as bad, who didn't buy these properties knowing that there was a problem there.
Well, I don't, I live with it, I don't care.
Well,
But what I'm
okay,
saying
you said
is,
you don't care.
what I'm saying is, after I'm gone, the city is gonna need to, answer one of two questions. They're either gonna have to deal with the bridge, if they want to open the street, they're gonna have to deal with groundwater, if they want to, if somebody wants to come in and subdivide the property. That's all I'm saying. So, and again, I thank you for your listening to us. We didn't expect an answer tonight, but that's why we were here. We wanted to initiate some action and anything else you want to say?
I know, I've had a conversation with the property owner, but we just can't remember his name because he's Katie Frick's uncle. And we know him by Katie Frick's uncle or his mom, her
And he's
mom's
90
brother.
He's
And
90 years old,
Yeah,
I
so
think.
we cruise by and talk to him all the time because we're little neighbors.
But anyway, again,
That's sad.
All right, let's-
thank you for listening to us, and if you need any other information,
I'd like to see that road historically, because I'm sure historically it was used for something,
well, the bottom land where I'm at, if you, like the creek area where you're down there was, that was a Civil War, years ago, there was a pond there, or a lake, or whatever they want to call it. And that was where and I forget whether it was the Union Cavalry or the Confederate, but that was where they met and camped during their scrimmage with the railroad. So it's a historical park, what I mean? Anyway, again,
Interesting.
thank you all very much.
We'll stay in
Thanks, guys.
contact with you and we'll work through it. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
So I'm assuming this is on something we'll discuss.
Well, I think the staff has to come back with a perspective on it and the information we've kind of talked about to make a decision.
I think we could have a possible for future workshop on it, just to gain more information without it entailing until we finalize something to be able to come back before the agenda to place it on there.
We'll gather information and then you all can give us direction from there.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Terry.
Sure.
Thank you, gentlemen. All right, next item on the agenda would be the 2015 Missouri State Softball Championship signs. There is an ordinance later on the agenda for this, but
I'm just wondering with this, do they, how long do they leave the other signs up? I mean, do our Fair Queen stay on there, or will they just keep building onto the sign?
We can only have 3.
Okay.
So if
So
we
it is
put
time.
this sign up, then if we decide to add another, then we have to remove something.
That answers my
Choose.
question. Thank you.
Well, I mean, the other issue, and I emailed Terry about this, I mean, they're sitting down on the Warrenton sign, it's so far away when you first see the Warrenton sign, you can't see them as you drive by. Usually when the people put up signs for events, the most current thing is on the top,
Yeah, that was a problem.
and this one's on the bottom. So you see the oldest Fair Queen on the top, then the next one, that's all backwards. And if they could be moved up to the sign right by the exit ramps, you're slowed down enough, you can actually read what's on the sign. I mean, if we're gonna spend money to this, I'd rather do it where somebody could read it.
if I remember right, this is a
MoDOT.
MoDOT issue. MoDOT sets what they want to set on it, and we have no say in it.
We can't talk to MoDOT about it.
They talk to
Melody
everybody.
did that today and
Yeah.
tried to convince them to let us move it. The only place we can have these is on the city limit sign. Now, I do think we can move this sign to the top, correct?
It is, if you look at the back on page 5, it shows what the how it's gonna be.
Back on what, page 5 of what?
5 of the
Number 11.
Yeah, that's what we need to have done.
But they will not let us move it to any other location.
Is that an ordinance or
It's their
state law?
policy.
It's by MoDOT standards. I guess it's a decree or policy that they've set. They dictate.
Is that something our elected official from our region can talk to them about?
I don't believe so. I mean, we certainly can have them talk to them, but they have a whole standard of policies that are related to these type of signs. So it would be asking them to change their policy related.
You wanna come up
But you
and
can
speak on it?
certainly always talk to someone.
Come on up, Mr. Shafar, you got some input on this?
I comment on that as part of the comprehensive plan that we are putting together. We definitely intend to talk to MoDOT about changing some of their rules on what they do with city signs coming into the town and everything like that. So just to let you all know that we are working on that, and we plan to address that, especially that issue, okay?
I think a lot of times with that, they look at it and say it's one time compared to how many that we'd have to adjust and change.
They can make up excuses. We don't need to make up excuses for
No,
them.
but-
We need to go ask the question.
But
First of
St.
all, not make-
Charles has theirs closer to the bridge.
Let's go ahead and
Well,
address this as it is right now, which is MoDOT sets their standards, they set their signs. We can make recommendations, but they don't have to follow anything if we want that sign up there.
can we put another sign around the easement area? At the entrance to the city? Is that all MoDOT, or does the city have a certain right in certain areas?
Yeah, but MoDOT never picks up their signs on the easement, so we just put them
Yeah,
out
put
there
them
and see
up.
how long it takes them to take down.
We can certainly do that. We have had many conversations with MoDOT related to wanting to change even the white sign that has City of Warrenton, or even as small a thing as wanting to put a banner up there indicating that it is a burn ban because it's been issued by the fire marshal, and even that is not allowed. They are very specific about what's allowed in those areas. We've tried it many times. Maybe there's someone who could get that changed, but we have never been successful thus far.
And we've talked to our elected officials.
We have done that at least in the last 4 years. But you never know. We have a different mayor now than what we had then, so maybe this mayor would be more successful. I don't know.
Or we can appoint an alderman to head up that whole campaign.
Okay. I don't know, to me, if we're gonna spend money to do this kind of stuff, you wanna do it so people can really see it and appreciate it. I mean, to me, I would rather, in some ways, incorporate money, or a piece of property by Denny's, as we talk about how do we design something that would look good. Certainly, these kind of things could be on that property. As people came in from the one direction, they could really see this is part of who the community is.
I was actually thinking about that too, but didn't know where we were with that whole signage.
Well, I don't,
We will be bringing to you the different options that are available potentially at the next meeting.
okay.
So you all will have to decide from the different options that are out there, what kind of sign you're looking to place there.
So the question tonight is, on the ordinance, if we pass the ordinance and we spend the money for this, we're spending money we could say, well, we'd rather do something else with. Although I recognize it's not a lot of money, but.
What's our time frame for developing the one out by Denny's?
That will depend upon, I'm sure, what type of sign you select, and whatever the construction time is for it.
6 months?
What's the time frame that MoDOT would have this sign, that we can put this up?
you have that answer, Melody?
I do not.
How long, do you remember how long it took them last time?
Quite a while.
Yeah, it's not an overnight thing
No.
to get this type of sign.
I bet it took them 4 months, don't you think, last time?
I was gonna say 3, but I really was just guessing. But it was certainly not an overnight situation.
And it's gonna depend on the weather too, because I think the last time we were doing it, it was winter, and they wouldn't do it during winter.
So if it's not something that they're gonna do right away, even if we approve it right away, would it make sense to wait a month till we decide what we're doing with our next one?
That's certainly up to
I mean,
you.
that was my point.
I
Doesn't make
kind of
sense.
think so, because I would like to see what the option are for the bigger signs, and we can make it a more visible announcement and acknowledgement of the team if it's on a bigger sign that people will actually see. Because Gary's right, on coming west, I mean, unless you're stuck in traffic, you don't catch it.
No.
I don't come that way enough to know what it looks like as well going east, but
I mean, because the problem with the sign is there's so many words on it, you can't read it as you drive. Even if you're doing 60, you can't read it, so what's the point? You'd rather do something where you're either slower or you can actually read the sign, that's.
Are there certain regulations, Deb, being so close to the highway as well, the property we're speaking of? Are there certain regulations we have to pass through MoDOT for signage on that property as well?
I don't have an answer to that yet. That'll be part of the information that's forthcoming.
If I remember right, I do believe they do have regulations within a certain footage of the highway.
definitely, but Denny's is right there that we're looking at too. I mean, so it's not like that piece of property is sitting on the road, right? Isn't there more space, height, and?
I think there was billboard regulation that the city, or the state set up billboard requirements a number of years ago. That's why there was this huge rush to put all these billboards everywhere. Because once it was passed, that was the end of the billboards. But we're not proposing a billboard, you know.
We're proposing a park on the highway.
Absolutely.
So I guess we're asking to table the whole ordinance, is that correct?
That would be my request.
Yeah.
Is that agreeable?
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I think we're tabling it. We just want to do it the best way.
All right, we'll be tabling that as well on the those ordinance item, agenda B. We'll be tabling that. Any other questions or comments? All right. Next item on the agenda would be certification of election results from November 3rd, 2015. I'll entertain a motion to approve the certification of election results from the November 3rd, 2015 election. You may reread that?
No.
All right.
So moved properly.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Casterly, seconded by Alderman Dyer. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderperson Casterly?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with one absent. Next item on the agenda would be hearing from Director of Operations Finance Officer Terry Thorne.
My first item for you this evening is a question regarding the annexation of the southern portion of Veterans Memorial Parkway. If you remember last year, we discovered that from basically the center line of Veterans Memorial to the south, that portion of the roadway not only was not within the city of Warrenton limits, but also was not within the city of Truesdale limits. We, at that time, decided to wait and see what happened with funding for MoDOT. Clearly, nothing has happened from that perspective at this point. And we're getting a lot of complaints about the condition of that roadway. It is in pretty bad shape. So my question to you this evening is, do we want to start the process of voluntarily annexing that southern half of Veterans Memorial into the city limits of Warrenton with the intention in the future of completing those roadway repairs?
Can I ask you a question about, we have the plats here. What are the businesses on either side of Lewis? I'm trying to get a framework of where exactly this is.
Warrenton Tire and Muffler.
Where is that at? Is that by Powell, or does that cover that whole block 1?
It's by Powell, I believe.
But it goes pretty far down block 1.
I think that's the only business in that whole stretch.
I think it is.
I
because of
believe
the-
so.
Because it used to be Burgravy and then
Yeah.
Warrenton Tire, so it's, I don't know if that's all, okay.
And then you have the Elks Lodge on block 2.
And the
And
Elks
the car
Lodge is
store.
And then,
On the end.
yeah, the car lot.
the car lot is in the little semi-triangle wedge.
Mhm.
And then over here you have Hearts and Farm Bureau
Okay.
and the,
The old Heart Sports.
yeah, what's the,
along there.
what's the landscaping person there? There's a guy that always has plants and stuff in the spring.
So let me ask you a question. When people complain about this, do they complain about the city and then we say that's Truesdale?
We used to until last year when we finally had the survey done and found out that it really is no man's land. And when we do get complaint calls, we explain to them that it's not, half of it is not within our city, it's not within Truesdale City. That we've sent a letter and asked Truesdale if they'd like to partner with us to do it, and they don't have a desire to do that. So at this point, truly the only options are either just leave it as it is, or go ahead and annex this portion of the roadway and complete the repairs.
And we think the repairs are what, 170?
We have 172,000, I believe, in our budget.
We think that's enough? And we budget that as a starting number or as an actual number we thought we could get the job done?
I believe Guy did that.
I bid that out originally to see what it would take to repair that. And then we came into the situation where who owned what, and that's how that started. That was priced where a contractor came out and gave me a bid on it at that time.
I think the only option we really have at this point is to talk to Truesdale and see if.
But we already did, and they said no.
No, to see about the, because we have to go to them about the annexation. You can't just annex it, right? We have to.
Well, we would ask them for a letter of support.
To annex.
But it's not their property anyway, but we'd have to go to get
Half of
this.
the road is, right?
No.
No, it's nobody's.
It's nobody's road.
This is the one where we had
Yeah.
the discussion of
I
that
thought
in the
it was half
60s.
then.
There was some questions, whether to who, to what, and where.
Yeah,
but
no, I thought
it's
half of
settled
it
up on the
was still
survey.
theirs.
And realistically, the highway department's not, we can't ask them to take over the maintenance of it. Because we can't even get them to move a sign.
According to our city attorney, based on the 1965 agreement, we absolutely can say, we don't want this agreement any longer, and basically hand it back to MoDOT. Now, whether they would do anything with it or not is a whole nother question. But yes, we can absolutely say, we're finished with this agreement, and
And if they
We're
say
no
we're
longer
gonna
going to
turn it to
maintain the
gravel.
road.
Right?
We lose the ability then to make any repairs
yes.
when we do that.
Yeah.
And I
What did
think
he
that's
say?
the discussion, Alderman Holly, that we had before,
Right.
was if we lose the ability to make repairs, then what if they do nothing?
Yeah.
And it just
Right.
gets worse.
Right.
Well, I think there's, I mean, to me, I hate to say that, it's almost like we have to do it. Because you can't have businesses on, and we're trying to promote business in the community. You can't have businesses on one side where the road's deteriorating, and we have some responsibility, but we're not gonna fix half the road, which doesn't make any sense, to go out there and do half the road and say, well, we fixed Warrenton's half and leave the other half. I mean, that's just
I
crazy.
agree, Gary.
Yeah, that's just crazy. I mean, I'd love to go to Truesdale and say, since you're not gonna do anything, we'd like to annex those businesses on the south side into the city limits, but that's not gonna happen either, so. So at least you get some kind of financial, return for your investment in the road, but that's not gonna happen. So I think we have to pursue bringing the road in so we can fix it.
I agree.
I mean, this is not the first time we took a deteriorated road into the city and had to fix it, a la Ballpark Road. True. True.
So let's not go there again.
So do you
But that one
need,
does provide financial. money back.
so do you need?
So does this. We get a lot of money from the Elks and from.
So do we need the approval tonight to?
Start the process.
Start the process and
Yes.
make a request?
Please.
Yes.
Yes, do we need a motion, or you just looking for consensus?
I think we need a motion, please.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to start the process for the annexation of southern portion of Veterans Memorial Parkway. Do you need parameters on it?
No, I think that's fine.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Holly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Ock?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer?
Yes.
Alderman Holly?
Yes.
Alderperson Kessel?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with one absent.
And then just a couple of other small notes for you. The gobble giveaway is this Saturday here at City Hall on the back side of the lot from noon to 5. We do have some vendors who've signed up, local businesses, and we'll be taking pictures, and there'll be sign up for all of the electronics items in the raffle. So we hope the snow stays away, and it really is warmer than 39 degrees, but we'll take whatever we get.
So do we need to be here at 11:30 or
At noon,
noon?
I don't think there's a lot of setup, so any of you who could come and join us at noon would be great.
And I will say on the feedback to that, I appreciate all the staff that has put in hard work and extra work to bring this together. Just personally know that you guys have really put a lot of effort into it, so thank you.
The other thing is we will have completed for the next meeting the analysis of the municipal court that you asked us to work on. So we'll have that put together and prepared for you, and it will be on the next agenda for discussion. That's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next item on the agenda would be hearing from the Chief of Police, Greg Hardishaw.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. So my request here is for 2 new police vehicles. Just following along page 1 of the bid tabs that I provided is the sedan, so that's the 4-door vehicle that we're requesting. On that one, the state bid applies from Mockins Ford, and then either low bid or state bid on all the items that come along with that. The reason that I brought this to you tonight is because of the issue that I have on page 2. That's the Ford utility vehicle. We only have one of those now, and I'd like to have 2, just so we're prepared for bad weather. The issue is that Mockins Ford, well, actually, Lou Fuse Ford has the state bid for that.
Really?
When we contacted Mockins, yeah, they split the bid this year on the Fords. When we contacted Mockins to talk to them about the state bid on the sedan, they provided us this bid, which is $200 lower on the utility. Normally, I would have just disregarded that because usually the state bid is where I live. However, I have found Lou Fuse to be exceptionally difficult to work with. The last 2 vehicle orders that we've placed were with Lou Fuse, and I even think to the point where the last order got lost for 2 months until I called and said, hey, what's the status? And I didn't get an answer for over a week and called them back, and they said, oh yeah, they're still 180 days out, which was the whole lead time to get the vehicle. So with your approval, this one time, I'm not going to make a habit of this for sure, I would like to keep this utility vehicle with Mockins Ford, so I'm dealing with one vendor. And as I said, everything else is either the state bid or the lowest bidder on the rest of the items. And the total, I forgot to put the total on that. Total on the whole project is $71,560.14, and the budget was $73,600.
Give me that total again, please.
The total was $71,560.14.
That's for both vehicles, correct?
Correct.
Any questions?
We're still not putting computers in, right?
No.
All right. No questions. I'll entertain a motion to approve the purchase of, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, one Ford sedan, one Ford 2016 Ford sedan, one 2016 Ford utility police vehicle for Hawkins Ford,
Correct.
fully equipped, in the amount of $71,560.14, which contains all state contracts and lowest bids.
Correct.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Dreyer, seconded by Alderperson Holly. If I could have a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer,
Yes.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with one absent.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda will be bills to ordinance. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 44-15.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Dreyer.
In ordinance to annex 1.3 acres of an unincorporated area located at 7178 South Highway 47 into the city of Warrenton, Missouri without further action.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 44-15.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderperson Holly, seconded by Alderman Dreyer.
In ordinance to annex 1.3 acres of an unincorporated area located at 7178 South Highway 47 into the city of Warrenton, Missouri without further action.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Dreyer,
Yes.
Alderman Holly,
Yes.
Alderperson Casterly.
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0 with one absent. The other bill to ordinance has been tabled, so we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are so adjourned.